What's up, guys? Welcome back to Viewer Castles. Today we're going to start off with Fornate. Castle level is a 25, so I'll jump into it on my archer. Alright, so let's jump into it and see what he's got. Alright, so kind of a general space control beginning. I guess it's not really even a space control beginning, it's just the Smelly Warrior kind of does that job, and then you have the the Defendatron on the Hunger Bot, it looked like, or possibly it was on the Smelly Warrior, but I managed to make the Smelly Warrior walk far enough away. Either way, the first group in your castle is usually the least effective because there's no traps stopping you from cutting back like I did there and taking almost no damage, so that's the big thing to note there. That it really doesn't matter what you put there. Usually people put like elites or something just because it's traps don't matter as much. They can sometimes do damage on their own and stuff like that. So we got some charging Cyclops, good DPS on those now, and then we have this this guy. A lot of people are going to kite back into this room, so I'm not sure if a spike trap here is the best trap, or at least a spike trap specifically here. Like, what do you have back one room before that? You have this trap here, this slow trap that no one's really going to take any damage from. So I'm wondering if maybe having this spike trap down in here somewhere, or like farther down in your castle, removing this slow trap, and seeing if maybe you could get a rotating fire trap even in this way over in this corner here, just to put a little bit more pressure on this room, because a lot of people are going to fight in this room with that group. Alright, so this is going to pull something. I should wait around for it here. Unless I want to double pull, which I could technically do because I'm over leveled, but I do want to see exactly what's coming at me. Alright, so the first thing I would say is you probably want to speed up your Stairmaster and maybe even your Puppeteer slightly. Your Stairmaster seems to probably get here a little bit too late. Your Cyclops coming first means he's going to charge in front of everybody else, and you're probably going to end up killing the Cyclops before the rest of the group actually catches up and makes it to the fight. So you'll want to take a look at that, maybe slow down your Cyclops slightly as well. I like this group though, it's a good space control group. The Vamp I'm a little indifferent about, but Smelly Warriors here, and even if you had like a Hunger Bot or something, is really good. Cyclops are also good because you're fighting around a trap, so you can take a little extra damage that way. The big thing I can say about everybody who's trying to improve your castle building techniques, you shouldn't even really worry about it until open beta comes, because when open beta comes, the entire game is going to change. With free creation mode, castles like this won't even be a thing probably anymore. It's just going to be completely different, so, you know, everyone's going to have to relearn the game. A couple of the people who have been in the test server, all these 00 members, will have like a little bit of an advantage, but that being said, the test server is constantly changing as well, so there's really no one's going to have like a sheer advantage, because no one really knows how it's going to come out. You know, there's been a lot of different areas. You guys can all see, you know, there's been 4 or 5, something like that, maybe 3, I don't know exactly how many, but there's been a lot of renditions of the test server up into this point, and everything gets changed here and there, and we don't really know exactly what version the devs are going to take. They're just testing a lot of things and seeing how it's all working right now. And when open beta comes, the whole game's going to change, probably for the better. It's just going to have a lot more options. And speaking on that, I know like not everybody watches my Viewer Castle videos, but I know a lot of you guys have been asking if I will redo the Castle Guide series, because a lot of the rooms are different, a lot of the groups are different. I mean, back when I did the defense guides for certain levels, rotating cameras wasn't even in effect, so that alone has changed the game so much that a lot of the strategies I used in there just don't work anymore. A lot of the rooms are completely different and stuff like that. So what I have been kind of telling people that PM me in private, and I haven't even probably responded to half of you guys that have been asking me about it, but I am planning to redo all of those guides after open beta comes out, and after free creation mode comes out, because the game's going to change so much, there's no reason for me to redo them now. Instead, I'm going to be creating a new account when open beta arrives, and I'm going to be playing through the game again from start to finish. And I'm basically going to be taking it slow, just getting enough replays where I can actually make guides. Getting kind of a really good, solid defense, and then uploading a video on that, and then showing replays like I did in the previous you know, defense guides for certain levels like I did before. I'm going to do it basically the same format. So for people who enjoyed that format and wish I would continue doing that, you guys will see that starting, you know, the end of February when open beta comes out. So I can tell you that for sure. I am planning on doing some videos on that. I do like this. This is kind of something similar that I tried to use in my castle. It hasn't really worked for me, and it didn't really work for you, but the idea seems really good where the Cyclops kind of pushes you into the silence trap, and then you can't roll out of the way of the Zeke shot. Because a lot of people, once they get stunned or something, they'll just spam their escape. And obviously Knights will just kind of tank it or try to walk away from it, but Archers definitely, at least me, I always try to roll, so. And yeah, I mean, Smelly Warriors can do a lot of damage, as you can see there. I'm, you know, 5 levels over this castle, maybe more over Smelly Warriors, and he takes a big chunk out of me, so. They're not bad units, but they have to be used kind of in low amounts, I guess I would say. You can't use them every group, and you can't use really more than one in a group, because they're only good at their specific role, which is when they start charging, you can't be in a small area around them. So when you have 2 standing in a small area and they both start trying to swing, the area doesn't get much bigger, so there's no reason to use more than one. But I've said that a couple times before. So yeah, it was a pretty good castle. I mentioned some things at the start, and then I kind of went rambling on about defense guides, so hopefully you got a little bit of information from the early part and the rest of the replay, but we'll jump into number 2 in just a second. Alright, next up we have Keclemon? I don't know. His castle level is 15, so I'll jump into it and kind of go through it pretty quickly on my knight and just kind of mention a few things here and there that I can notice. But generally, before level 20, you don't have tons available to you. Level 20 shouldn't take people all that often, or not all that often, but all that much time to actually get up to, so I wouldn't worry too much about it. You know, you'll defend against some people and you'll lose to some people. I mean, that's just how it's going to be at the lower levels. You can't win everything. The first thing that I'm going to say is, like, these Stairmasters on this Ominous Orb ability, they just don't do enough damage on Ominous Orb at these lower levels, so I would always take those out and use something else. You can use the purple eyeballs if you think that the Hungerbot's going to hit people often enough, because I know newer players tend to play this game much like all other, like, action RPGs where they just kind of run headlong into things, and even me, I've had to change the way that I play those type of games, because when I first started I just kind of ran through things and I would get hooked by certain Hungerbots and charged into certain things, and that's really not how you can play this game. You really have to play it a little bit differently. So at these lower levels, sometimes you can catch people with those type of things, and you could use the purple Stairmasters to do a lot of damage like that. But once people start to learn that they have to take things a little bit more cautious, because dying is the real, like, a problem in this game. I mean, if you play it cautiously, you don't really die in these lower levels. I would say almost never. So I mean, I guess I'll see a little bit more when open beta starts, because I'll have to kind of play through the game again to see how easy it is now that I've learned everything that I have learned. But I can't imagine with 4 potions you really lose all that much. I've still been saying for a while that I think that at the lower levels you shouldn't have 4 potions, you should have something more like 2, because there's less rooms, there's less creatures to go through. And the only thing you're really giving up on is, you know, player skill, but I suppose, you know, that's a pretty big part of the game. I liked the puppeteers on Resurrect. I think it's good at your level, but I do think that maybe you have a few too many of them. I'm guessing this is a dead end in your castle because of all the slow traps, but I'm going to walk around it anyway. But yeah, what I will say is that I think you have a few too many of those puppeteers, because you had like 4 of them or something. I think you should have at least some units that can deal some damage also, even if they're Snotters or something. Snotters can even add up on their damage at these at those levels. But Alright, so we have a Hunger Bot here. Unfortunately, I went to his back, so... Or not a Hunger Bot, God. Dr. Skull. But I went to his back, so he was kind of easy for me to take out. Also, Bodyguard is a little bit better against Dr. Skulls in general. Not against, but with Dr. Skulls. But it's not a big difference. So again, we have these Stairmasters. I think that they're a little bit too weak at these lower levels. I can kind of just stand in this aura and not really take any damage whatsoever. I mean, it's just not that scary. If I get hooked, the purple Stairmasters are best. If you just want them as just stand-up units by themselves, then the teleportation is best. I would never really advocate using the purple Stairmasters only because they're so slow, but I could see at these lower levels a couple people getting tricked by it and possibly getting insta-killed because they do so much damage. Alright, Pete Poundmore here is fine, but I don't think you had anything with him. I think you should definitely have, unless, no, these weren't combined with that. You should definitely have something with him. Probably like a Bad Dog and maybe a Snotter. You don't even technically need one though. You could just have him, Pete Poundmore here, and a Bad Dog slightly in front where his aura will still, you know, affect the Pete Poundmore himself, and it'll work okay. I think you should always have at least a little bit of support though for elites. So here we have a ton of Resurrect. I have to just kind of deal with these Dr. Skulls when there's also 2 Hunger Bots. So I mean, this is kind of an annoying group. I wouldn't say it's like super high damage or super scary or anything, but it's annoying for a knight to deal with for sure. Because I'm constantly trying to deal with these Dr. Skulls, but at the same time I'm being hooked all over the place, which is really annoying. So I think that's a pretty interesting boss here. I'm not sure if it will get many kills or not, but it's definitely annoying. But yeah, pretty good castle. You know, a couple of the things that I mentioned, and just, I don't know, you have a lot of Resurrect. I think you had, like, in front of your Pete Poundmore, you also had 2 Bone Puppeteers by themselves. That should never really happen either, because someone's just going to kill the Bone Puppeteers. You want to have something that's either scary or just a ton of units in front, and make the Bone Puppeteers come a little bit later, so that they kill off all of the like low trash minions, and then they all get resurrected, and you have to deal with those as well. But you don't really want to have just Puppeteers by themselves. They won't be strong enough to stand up, and they'll just kind of get focused down and killed before they really get to do anything. But we'll jump into number 3 in just a second. Alright, and lastly we have Psykrom, cast levels of 27. Jump into it on my archer.
Those monsters won't know what
Looks like a couple smelly archers coming. And I see a Squidly. I'm really not sure about this. I'm just going to hide behind here. I imagine that this is going to be really weak to a volley, but I have to see exactly what's coming. So, smelly archers. I'm going to throw out some bear traps to get everything stuck together, and then throw a volley. And then everything should take a ton of damage. So yeah, you can kind of see how everything dies. Yes, I'm a little over-leveled. The 2 Stairmasters would probably survive this if someone was your level. They would teleport away from it. But the other 3 units would die. Archers and smelly... Pretty much any ranged unit and any trash mob is going to be really weak to corners like this, because it's all going to group up and then it'll all die to a volley. So it's probably not the best group to have right at the start of your castle, because you can't put any pressure on the corner. Basically, you can't have trap pressure is the main thing, because it's the entrance to your castle. Alright, we've got Jimbo on the Resurrect ability. Not my personal favorite, but I guess I've seen a little bit more merits as of late to having it. But this one isn't as bad because I can kind of see a little bit of this group now. Like at first I was going to say again the same general principle applies. I could go behind this this corner and then just volley everything and it would all die. But then you have this Jimbo, and the Cyclops kind of comes and resurrects him if you do that. So it gets kind of an extra Jimbo life out of pulling back, which isn't necessarily that bad. It could do decently. Alright, what do we have coming? An IMAX. Generally, if I was playing this castle at like level 32, I would aggro this next group and kill it before this walks around because it's a slow-moving group. which is actually kind of a good and bad thing, because it makes someone make a decision. Either I can wait for this to walk around, but it takes a ton of time off the clock, and maybe I get a lower star, or I double pull, and if I don't kill it in time, then I have to deal with, you know, 2 groups at once. So IMAXs are fine. I got a lucky crit there, where I did a bunch of extra damage. I'm gonna get close enough to this so that maybe I can volley everything. Because this is weaker to my volley than it would be to other people's. Generally, the Smelly Warrior should survive a volley. The archers will still die. The dampener might die. I'm not 100% sure if the health increase lets dampeners stay alive. You notice here that your Puppeteer comes first before your Pete Poundmore. I think that should be switched around. Your Pete Poundmore should be the first thing to come around, and then your Puppeteer a little bit afterwards. Alright, we've got Smelly Archer, maybe a Jimbo. I don't know if that Jimbo was farther into the group or if it was just that, but I'm trying to find, again, a corner to abuse. Looks like I won't be able to find one as easily. You did pretty well at putting pressure on your corner, so I can't abuse it against the Archer. And then the Jimbo is okay. Although here I don't see any unit that's going to come this far to be able to resurrect him. Unless for some reason this group pushes me back pretty far, which it won't because it's another Jimbo. I missed that headshot. Drop a volley instead. Just kind of danced around with these vamps. So Jimbo get resurrected here, so that's I guess good for you. Although I'm not sure, that Jimbo's hit me like once. Like all of your Jimbos total, I think has hit me once, and then maybe this guy was twice. Like that's the problem with Jimbos, he just doesn't hit all that much. So that's why a lot of people use heavy-handed, because when he does hit, you want him to be able to kill somebody, which heavy-handed will do, usually at your level. Or at least come so close to killing them that they'll use a potion. So, you know, 4 hits and they're out of potions. And if he ever crits, I don't think anyone's living through that unless you're a knight. Alright, this is a pretty standard Zeke group. You have a bunch of derps instead of having like support for him. I don't know how I feel about that. It's not bad considering it does get you a little bit extra range. If you were using like a Puppeteer or a Bad Dog, you'd have to keep everything close together, so it would make your Zeke susceptible, or at least your Defendatron susceptible to an early headshot. So I guess it's okay. Alright, does this actually pull anything? It looks like it doesn't. This one does though, or it should pull something up in here. I can't see it quite yet. It's coming though. We have a Smelly Archer at least. An IMAX it looks like maybe. Alright, good again with your corners kind of... Well, I'm able to stand right here and not take any damage. But, you know, if this Ballista Trap was a little bit closer, it would make it so I couldn't stand there. Alright. So again, Cyclopses are really good at resurrecting Jimbos. I guess it looks like he's not... Yeah, he's gonna resurrect himself, I think. Maybe not. I need to heal, though. Yeah, there's the Jimbo. Alright. So you've gotten quite a few extra lives out of your Jimbos, which is good. Unfortunately, they're not hitting me much, but I am over-leveled, so I'm dealing a lot more damage than other people will at your level. Alright, then it looks like, is that 2 archers? Yeah. So what I would want to do is stand here. Instead I have to move around a little bit, because you have a trap. Alright. So this is a pretty good group. I actually like this one. It's good trap placement on the Ballista Trap. And then for a boss we have Pete Poundmore and Jimbo. And a heal on top of it all. The heal won't bother me all that much, but it'll it'll bother people with a lot less DPS. Like I said, I'm over leveled so I can out DPS the heal very easily. But yeah, pretty good castle. It looks like I missed something, so I'll try to run back. There it is. Is he gonna resurrect the Jimbo? Nope. Alright, so yeah, pretty good castle. I think it should give people your level quite a bit of a hard time. But that is number 3, so we're gonna end the video here. As always, if you guys enjoyed, please subscribe. If you want to be a part of EuroCast, you can email me at frenzycastleruns@hotmail.com. I try to update the list once a week. You can find that in the description of the video, a little spreadsheet that will show you, when your name might pop up. But usually I don't update it until the end of the week every week, around Friday or Saturday. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you next time.